Tales from the Terran Republic. Helena and Jessie. Asshole foster dad had this fancy grav car. He really loved that thing, she laughed. His favorite joke is that we were making the payments on it for him. God, I hated that car. By 12, I had gotten computers taken away from me so often that I had discovered out of necessity that almost everything is a computer or has one inside, if you know how to get to it. Grav cars are no different. One night I deactivated the house alarm and slipped into the garage. It took a couple of nights to figure everything out, but in just a few evenings I had made a few modifications to the grav car's firmware using a little burner that I had whipped together. It sounds smarter than it actually was. I just copied the plans off of the internet. The original design was so that people could bypass all the safety bullshit on their grav cars and actually have full manual control. I obviously made a little modification. Oh man. Well, every Friday he and the missus would have a night out. We were watched by the oldest teen, which meant we weren't really watched. They pulled out of the drive and swooshed off into the sky, and I swooshed off into my bedroom and pulled out my tablet from school. Jessie laughed wickedly. I had full control of the car. I locked them in and took them on a Grand Theft Vehicle-style property damage fest, before finally taking them up to over 500 meters, and sent them slamming them into the ground at over 400 kilometers per hour. I got to talk to them and everything. Oh, how they screamed and pleaded and begged for their lives. I still get the warm fuzzies from that. Jessie giggled. Holy shit, Helena gasped in horror. Well, of course I got caught, Jessie laughed. 12-year-old me could hotwire a grav car but not do it and leave no trace. The fact that it was so public and I did so much property damage across town certainly didn't help either, she giggled. It was a big deal at the time. I even made the news. You can bet they listened to us after that, she laughed. Do you know that all vehicles manufactured after that have design changes thanks to me? Ish, Helena said in horror. Once everything came to light, I didn't face any charges, juvenile or otherwise, of course. While I trashed a whole lot of shit, I didn't hurt anyone except for my 2 targets. And there is no court in the Republic who would convict me based on everything, so I walked, sorta. Sort of? Yeah, while I didn't go to kid prison, I did wind up in a residential treatment facility specializing in traumatized and potentially dangerous girls. Jessie paused and looked over at Helena's horrified face. Oh, it wasn't bad at all. It was actually a nice enough place, but so fucking strict, and I just hated all the group sessions and all those damn overly nice counselors and psychiatrists and other specialists. It was like a cross between a never-ending summer camp from hell and the loony bin, she laughed. I spent 3 years in that rubber-walled nirvana before I managed to convince them that I was cured, and then I managed to get accepted into college early just so I could get out of there. That was another baby step. Another baby step? Yeah, I managed to hack my way into the treatment facility's system and tweak the online educational software, as well as got my hands on their employee handbooks, treatment guides, and evaluation criteria. After that, it was easy to say and do exactly what I needed to in order to get the hell out of there. Jessie paused. It wasn't a bad place, and if I had actually let them help me, things could have very well gone differently, but I didn't. I was just a fucked up kid who had no intention of letting anyone mess with them and just wanted to scoot. So anyway, I was out on my own at 15. Now there was a program in place for underage students and nominal supervision, but not really. What few checks that were in place were online, and it was easy to check in and then sneak back out even without being the almighty Jessie. All you had to do was log in and then jump out the window. But you made it into college. What happened? I didn't go to college to get an education and build a future. I went to college so I could get out of what I thought was prison and just wanted to run around and have fun. I did double major in computer engineering and information systems and kicked ass because it was fun. But I also started running around with the same sorts of people I was used to hanging around with back at the treatment facility. And that went about as well as you think it would. What happened? Sparkle happened, lots and lots of sparkle. Sparkle? It's a synthetic drug that was trendy at the time. I guess the apple didn't fall far from the tree. I got into sparkle big time. I did other stuff too, but I was all about the sparkle. While I didn't ever actually fail, my grades and my interest declined, but that wasn't the problem. What was? Sparkle ain't free, Jessie laughed. I had a little stipend, but it was just enough for sundries. Nowhere near enough to feed my ever-growing drug habit. Most drugs are legal in the Republic, and that does make them less expensive than in the Federation, but they still aren't exactly free, and the amount that I was putting up my nose was getting pricey. I always pirated some software here and there, but it went from games and movies to educational software and textbooks. Then that wasn't enough, and I started moving into actual crimes, credit card fraud, identity theft, that sort of thing. Then I had a sparkle-powered flash of genius. What did you do? Well, I had already done a little hacking into the school's computers, tweaked a transcript or two for cash, and I'd filched a test or three. Hey, I thought to myself, instead of swiping just one test, why don't I swipe all of them? I don't know how things work in the Federation, but in the Republic there are only a couple of college textbook distributors, and they each have a centralized test bank where schools who use their books can get their tests and answer keys. I had the brilliant idea of going in through the school computers, which I had already compromised, and got into the main test banks and copied everything. I had every test for every college textbook in the whole fucking Republic. It couldn't have just been that easy. Oh, I had to do a little physical hacking and break into an office or three, but yeah, it was surprisingly easy to pull off. There are bunches of questions, and not everyone is used on every test, but it was stupidly easy to figure out the algorithms used to actually construct them. It was even easier to figure out what the correct multiple-choice answers were independent of the actual questions. It was the first time I used AI in a job. Suddenly, I had very popular and very lucrative study guides. Go to my site on the DeepNet, drop 100 credits, and get a personalized study guide. Damn, I could have used a couple of those. Helena laughed. Not only did I do that, but I also was able to get into the college testing sites. You know, the entrance tests for med school, law school, and shit like that. Wow. Yeah, I made a lot of money for a little while, but it was too big, too clumsy, and way too public to evade notice. My dumbass throwing around money like a moron didn't help either. No surprise, I got busted. I thought it wasn't a big deal, but I had compromised the entire testing and evaluation system for the Republic College system. The damages were significant, like 7-figure significant. They had to trash and redo the entire system from the ground up. They also had absolutely no sense of humor when it came to the fact that I had been helping get unqualified people into medical school either. Yeah, Jessie laughed. I gotta go to real big girl prison for that one. Sentenced to 5 years. What is Terran prison like? Not bad, Jessie chirped. Jail. Now jail sucks, but once you are actually sentenced and assigned to a Republic prison, it isn't all that bad, at least not for me. Remember, I wasn't a violent offender, so I got sent off to Wonderland. Wonderland. A big minimum security white-collar criminal facility. Prison is prison and it sucks, but Wonderland wasn't all that bad. One great thing about Republic prisons is that they are very serious about drugs. They constantly scan for them, so getting them is damn near impossible. You pretty much have to make them and then take them immediately if you want to get high. They will find them. They are also very good with drug abuse treatment. The whole place was pretty much enforced rehab. It got me clean, which probably saved my life in the long run. Jessie shrugged. Of course what they say is true. Prison is college for criminals, and I learned a whole lot while I was in and met the right wrong people. I actually served 3 years and qualified for early release. No fancy tricks that time. I just actually got with the program in the end. I really did want to get my life together. So what happened? I was the bitch who wrecked the whole test bank system and cost every single university time and money across the whole Republic. I was not getting back into any school anywhere. Convicted felon, no degree. I was lucky to get any sort of job at all. I wound up having the same choice that a lot of ex-cons have. It's obvious what path I took, and it didn't take too long before I went from being someone who really wanted to get their life back together to becoming something truly awful. After a while, I was a completely bitter, amoral, black-hearted hacker who would do anything, and I did anything. Any target was fair game, and I honestly did not give a fuck who got hurt in the process. I kept getting better, and the jobs kept getting bigger, and eventually Sheila needed a hacker for a job, and someone recommended me. That job went very well, so the next time they needed a hacker, they gave me a call. After several times, we realized that it would be in all of our best interests if we joined up, and the rest, Jessie said with a grin, is history. I can't imagine you being bitter and black-hearted. It was before I met Sheila and the gang and had morals and family inflicted upon me, Jessie laughed. On the monitor behind her, a picture of a slightly younger, angry-looking Jessie with black-dyed, slicked-back hair, wearing an armored leather biker jacket with mini keyboards strapped to each forearm, and wearing a set of heavy black sunglasses with integral earpods with a cable running from the frame along her neck and into her shirt appeared. It was clearly a profile pic of some sort. Helena made a little smirk. Jessie didn't even turn around. That bitch just put the picture up, didn't she? The fingerless gloves are a nice touch, Helena laughed, and I love the boots. So much cringe, Jessie laughed. Sheila later told me that the only reason she didn't laugh me off of her ship was because of who recommended me. I'm really glad she didn't. Hooking up with these guys is the best thing to have ever happened to me. Not exactly a tale of redemption, but I guess going from a bad guy to a good bad guy is sort of an improvement. I'm still a pretty bad guy. Still a black hacker and all. Black hacker. That's what the trade calls hackers who will write code with fatal results. You want dirt on someone, then any hacker will do. But if you want to do a hit and need the security system down and cameras off, or even better, you want someone to have an accident, then you need a black hacker, someone like me. Don't forget, it's my code that was directly responsible for the trick that wiped out most of the White Star security and crew, and almost offed you as well. Yeah, trying not to think about that, thanks. Helena shifted uneasily. It was easy to forget that Jessie was every bit as much of a killer as the rest of them. Still, you are right to some extent, Jessie said thoughtfully as she turned to closely examine the screens for a moment. I am a whole lot better than I used to be. A lot happier, too. I think some of it is getting a little perspective. How do you mean? Helena asked. I had let myself get really fucking bitter because of all the bullshit that I had been through, Jessie chirped. But these guys, what they have been through, shit, I got off light. The really funny thing is that they think the same thing but the other way around, she laughed. You think they have had it worse than you did? Helena asked in surprise. You have had a really rough road. Oh, fuck yeah, Jessie said. Get Sheila talking about Korvax or the chief talking about the Battle of all the Marbles, or what Gloria went through. She isn't fucked up for nothing, you know, and all of them went through something that would absolutely break me. What's that? They lost their crew, all of them, Jessie said grimly. They called them their units, but it's probably the same thing I have now. Something that I treasure more than life itself. I mean, they made it through the absolute living hell that was the Great War, and then the Federation just shows up out of nowhere and kills their crew for no fucking reason. Jessie spat. I tell you one thing. If the Federation just killed my crew for no reason and left me alive, shit. Sheila's a fucking angel compared to what I would do. I would unleash the fires of hell, and I wouldn't stop until the Federation was cinders or I was dead. Helena looked at Jessie in surprise. She had never thought about the Federation's surprise attack in that light. It explained a lot. It made Sheila and her crew's actions make a lot more sense. She wasn't sure if she liked that. And what happened to Roberts? Jessie continued. Fuck. What happened to Roberts? Helena asked with concern. Oh, you know what happened to his kid. Well, his unborn kid anyway. His fiancée was pregnant. Bah! Shit, Jessie said unhappily. He didn't tell you. Man, Roberts is going to fucking kill me. Smooth, really smooth, Jessie, Bunny said over the intercom. Bunny, open a channel to Roberts for me, please. Jessie said, face-palming. I think I need to tell him something. His fiancée was pregnant? Oh, God. Can't imagine what you need to tell him, Bunny chuckled. You are connected. Roberts, this is Jessie. I need to talk to you about something. It isn't a really good time right now, Roberts replied. Come on, Gloria, Sheila's voice said over the channel. You need to come out. Is that an order? Gloria replied in a dead voice. Please don't make it one. Look, everybody's worried and... Can I talk to you later? Roberts asked. Yeah, sure, but I really need to talk to you. Jessie out. Please let me tell him that you know first, Jessie begged. Why didn't he tell me? Helena asked nobody in particular. Nobody here really likes to cry about the past, Jessie said. All of us have had it pretty rough. You don't go from decorated war hero to a fucking pirate for no reason you know. It still doesn't make it right, but... Yeah, it doesn't, Jessie chirped. But damned if it doesn't make you feel better, and they do have a point. The Federation needs to be taken to task for a whole lot of shit. Taken to task? Yes, absolutely. But this isn't the way. You think one of your pretty little articles would have helped the Zhoosh? Seriously? Jessie asked with a giggle. You can't possibly be that naive. You know what helped them. Weapons. Do know you who got them. Do you think some little exposé would have stopped Counselor Morgan? Do you honestly think he would have spent a day in jail? Who brought him down? Us. Grant Shanks, one of the fucking monsters of the Sol Wars, and after that the head of one of the worst gangs anywhere, anywhen. All the police and all the evidence in the world for over 150 years didn't do a goddamn thing. You know what did do a goddamn thing? A knife. You know who was holding the other end? Sheila. I could go on and fucking on. We do what other people wish they had the balls to do, and we make happen what needs to happen. We might not fit into your idealized cotton candy bullshit tea party of a world. But if that world was actually real, we wouldn't exist in the first place, Jessie said with a smile. The Federation created Shelia and the rest of them. The Federation created them, and the Federation is going to have to live with them, and all the rest of the people they created. Helena didn't know what to say. She was right. Jessie was absolutely 100% correct. She even remembered the little happy dance she did when she read that Grant Shanks was found with an extra smile below his chin. She considered it justice and a great day for both the Federation and humanity in general. When she heard about what was happening to the Zhoosh, She was outraged, and she was rooting for the rebels from day one. If you asked her, she would have told you that the people arming them were heroes. It was so simple then, so easy to accept, even applaud. The reality, the ugly black cold reality of it, however. It shouldn't be right. It shouldn't, but it was. "This sucks," Helena finally said. "Yeah, it does," Jessie chirped happily. "Reality's underbelly can be a pretty ugly place. Good thing that there are some ugly people down there doing something about it. Like I said, I used to think it was bullshit and they were idiots for being crusaders, but now... Fuck. I guess I'm one too." "Hey, Jessie," Bunny said, interrupting them. "Yeah. I need to, do some research. Do you think I could fire up the transmitter?" "Shit. Exactly how bad do you need the research? Exactly how bad do you want to actually make it home? I need a few more decimal places on a couple of numbers, and I don't have it in our archives. Uncle will probably appreciate the extra info as well, poor guy." "What's going on with him?" Helena asked, grateful from a reprieve from her moral quandary. "He's working out the actual jumps, and they can't put extra fans on that poor son of a bitch," Bunny laughed. "It looks like Archimedes threw up in Cargo Bay 20. I can't look too closely. Those curves make my processors itch." "Okay," Jessie chirped. "Let me futz with the hyperspace transmitter's ID and some other shit first, but I don't see a problem." She turned to Helena. "So, got what you need? I need to do some shit." "Yeah, thanks," Helena said, still grappling with the realization that she was starting to think that Sheila was in the right. I'm going to go see Roberts," she said as she walked away. Sheila and the crew were returning from their rather disturbing visit to Gloria's new home. "Do you think she's going to be okay?" Eno asked with no small measure of concern. "Yeah," Sheila replied. "She's just having a bad few days, that's all." She said, not exactly believing it, but it's what the guys needed to hear. "Bunny told me that once we split, she opened the door and grabbed the rations, so there's that. Besides, we are basically in a holding pattern till we jump. If she needs a break, now's the time. We can loot without her." "Ugh," Sheila said as she spotted Helena approaching at a trot. "Now what?" Without a word, Helena just ran up to Roberts and started hugging him with everything she had. "Man down," Greg laughed as the rest of the gang chuckled. Even Sheila almost smiled. Almost.